Posada, slow roller right side. Beckett picks it up, tags Posada, and the Florida Marlins are world champions.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
We're waiting for the other shoe to drop. We're ready to get hurt again. But so far, so good. The Marlins are streaking. We've only lost 2 series all year, both to the Mets. So I'm feeling pretty good. I think the rest of the Battered Marlins fans are also feeling pretty good. So let's see how they're going. Callie, how are you doing, sir?
I'm pumped, baby. We're 10-9. We're over 500. Who'd have thought? Who would have thought? Not me.
I think Branton and Spaz.
We're here, baby.
Right?
Yeah.
How's it going,
We're here,
Branton?
baby.
Good. Just want to, on top of the great wins, just want to shout out to the couple of people I met out in Disney this week who approached me thanks to my Marlins gear. Hope you guys are listening and, great catching up with you guys and talking with you.
Look at you. You're famous already.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Marlins love in Orlando. I love it.
I know. I was shocked. Just so the listeners know, I did run into a relative of one of our players. I don't want to shout her out or the player out because I didn't get permission to do that. But hopefully she's listening. If you are, reach out to me. You have my socials, and let's talk.
And then for those on audio, you guys need to tune into the YouTube so that you can see the magisterial mustache that I'm about to introduce. The one, the only, Spazzy Spaz. How you doing, sir?
That's very embarrassing. I'm super stoked. I made it to the park a couple times during the homestand. So saw a loss, saw a win. I mean, it's been good.
We saw each other.
I ran into Callie, hung out with his family. Callie left me to go sit in the suites with the big dogs. So no, but it's I've been excited. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
For sure. And let's start off with the last 2 series, last week, we kind of did that whole prediction thing. And it's kind of loosey-goosey. You kind of just take your best guess. And Spaz, Branton, and I all thought we had a chance to take 2 from each series, which we did. Not the way I thought. I don't think it was the way many of us thought because we thought Sandy was going to be a shoo-in on Sunday, but obviously wasn't the case. We went in on Friday. We basically retired Bumgardner, right? Is that how it went down, Callie?
Yeah. I mean, he pitched. He pitched again today, but he got tossed and then.
Oh, did he pitch today? Oh, that's my fault.
Yeah, he called Wilson Contreras a pussy or something like that, and then he either got tatted and they pulled him or he got taken out. I don't know, but he got DFA'd like today. Yeah. So.
Well, that first series, we took the first game 5-1. Second game on Saturday, 3-2, and then Sandy took the mound on Sunday. That's the game we thought we were a shoo-in. We thought we were going to get the sweep. At that point, you go 2-0 and you have Sandy on the mound, we're going to sweep, and then we got rocked. That's the first time we get shut out all season. We lost 5-0, but it took till game 16 to get shut out, which is pretty good. And then we had the Giants here at home again, took 4-3 Monday, set 4-2 on Tuesday, and then the one that really hurt, that extra inning loss, 5-2 on Wednesday. And I mean, before we get into that, because I do want to get into that Wednesday game a little deeper, I do want to just talk in general about the 2 series that we just won. Let's start with Callie. Callie, what do you think about the last 2 series? What were your? I know you were a little surprised because you weren't expecting us to go and win both series.
No, I mean, my mantra the whole time is go 500 and get into the wild card. Like,
to
be fair, we're close, but we did better than I thought. We scored 18 runs in 6 games. That's a good deal. I'll take that all day. We're a team that we don't have to score very much in order to win because our pitching is that good. Our bullpen is that good.
Our bullpen is the best.
Quite literally, statistically, the best.
Mm-hmm.
We swung the bats well. Aside from Sunday, it was an ugly day, but man, we faced a good hitting Diamondbacks team and we beat them. Then the Giants, we had a great chance at the sweep, but we just couldn't finish it. It seems like what both series had in common is that we played poorly or we gave it away the last game of each each series.
Yep,
Where
we had a chance for a sweep for both. Yep.
Yeah, where it felt like we dominated the first 2 games in each series.
Mhm.
But though the second game of the Diamondback series, we were behind. We had to come back and we beat them, which is awesome. Undefeated in 1-run games this year. We've won 3 straight series. What's not to love, man? It's a fun time to be a Marlin right now.
What do you think,
Who would've
Spaz?
thought?
What do you think of the last 2 series?
I think that there's a lot to be excited about, man. I'm glad that we went 4-2. We had the crystal ball last week, so stoked about all that. I think there's a little bit of concern that we should have with obviously, Sandy losing. I know we're gonna get into it a little deeper, but there's one play that I want to touch on, which was the one that he hit directly to, well, not directly, but it went to DLC and he dropped it. But I was like right on top of that play, and man, he was getting hit hard, and that ball came in hot, and it hit his glove, and it popped. So like he was getting hit hard that day, and it was not a fun day for the Marlins. But whatever, dude. As long as we got both series wins, I'm okay with it. So just keep trucking, dude.
Just stay over 500.
Yeah.
Bratton, are we disappointed or are we happy? Because when you know that you have Sandy on the mound for the sweep on Sunday, and then you have a man on third with just 1 out and a chance to win the series in the bottom of the 10th, and again we don't close the deal. Are we happy with the 4-2, or should we be a little disappointed?
So, I'm more disappointed in the Sandy start against the Diamondbacks because I was counting on that. I thought for sure he was going to bounce back and we were going to be able to talk about our first series sweep at that point. The Giants game, I'm a little less upset about that because, Rogers came out in the first inning, second inning. So the bullpen had to do a lot of work. And by the time we got to extras, it was, you have to score in that moment or you're going to lose the game. As soon as we let that chance go by, I knew we were going to lose it. And then here comes Callie's favorite guy, Smeltzer, comes in and just gets rocked. And so,
fire that guy to the fucking sun. My God.
Yeah. So, I kind of expected the Giants game was going to be tough to bring it out, but I really didn't see Sandy getting rocked that way. And so, Spazzy mentioned the ball was coming off the bat hot against Sandy. So, am I worried about his season outlook at this point? No. I'm actually optimistic that we did this well and he didn't pitch well. Luzardo didn't have a great game against the Giants. He was all right, but it's encouraging. The bullpen is really doing its job. Aside from that, the game against the Giants, just you can't expect them to keep it up when Skip was going through those arms like crazy.
But, well, speaking of Skip, I do want to get into Wednesday night, or was it Wednesday afternoon? Actually, it was a day game. 9th inning, Stalling gets on base, and at that point, you're wondering, and even the announcers were asking, should they pinch run? Did he make a mistake not putting in a pinch runner right at that moment? Now, I personally felt because there were 2 outs, you can't take the chance of putting in a pinch runner and losing your catcher if it goes into extra innings. But he didn't. But once he got to second base, then he pulled the trigger. I'll start with Bratton. Was that the right move, or do you think that he should have, gone ahead with the pinch runner early when he was on first?
No, I think that's the right move. When you're talking about a catcher, that's a little bit, in my mind, that's a harder position to justify a pitch runner in. The outfield positions, you can justify that. Maybe a middle infielder with the utility guys that we have, you can justify making that sub. But, I think Skip played it right. I really don't have any problems with any of the calls Skip has made since we last talked. It's what I would have done, and so I was glad to see him handle it that way.
What about Callie? It looks like you agree with Skip also.
Yeah, guy on first, you don't necessarily want to pinch run. If you're able to get him over to the next bag and you have him in scoring position, then yes. pinch run them,
But
but you don't want to burn your cat. You don't want to burn your catcher, especially that we're a team that only has 2 catchers on the roster. We don't carry 3 like most teams traditionally do, because you want to give a guy like Fortes his off day. But
for hindsight being 2020, he might have gotten to third if it would have been a pinch runner there.
I wouldn't have sent him. And like if I'm coaching there, I don't send him there.
Okay.
Just because it's, again, you have at that point you have bottom of the line. You had Stallings the bottom line guy. You have the top. You have your best hitters coming up. Let your best hitters hit. Don't put yourself in an opportunity to take the bat out of the hitter's hands. So if I'm putting my Coach Cali hat on, I think he made the right call. I would have done the same thing. You don't want to unless you have to. But there, I have to look back at it, but I don't remember it was the 8th or the 9th inning that we had bases loaded, no outs, and we couldn't get one in. After that, it's like if you can't score that way, you don't deserve to win. And then obviously Smeltzer comes in the in extras, and he gets absolutely tattooed, and that's just the baseball gods pissing all over your head for not being able to get a guy in with bases loaded and no outs.
So Spaz, I see you shaking your head in approval. I'm assuming you agree with both Brenton and Cali. Right move by Skip.
I'm with Skip.
Got you.
He's my guy. I haven't disagreed with him. I really haven't disagreed with him much. But the one thing I did want to bring up, because I saw some disagreements on Twitter, and I was in it, was that we were getting, both sides were getting just awful calls from the umpire on balls and strikes. And somebody on Twitter said, I don't think Skip has come out one time to like even argue or even talk to the ump about anything. And then he addressed it and listen, if there's one thing that Matt needs to do, that guy did not give a fuck. He wanted to come out and just like, he was going to argue with the umpire. And I loved him for it. Like for everything that he was and everything that he wasn't, like he was going to get your back. But Skip, he addressed it and he says, man, when he's called that ball, he's called that strike, there's nothing that's going to happen. You're not going to change, they're not going to change it. So why argue it? So when he said that, I go, fuck, all right. I agree with you there. So that's, I kind of wish I saw him go out at that point, but when he spoke, I'm like, you're absolutely right. Why are you going to get yourself in trouble?
You know what, Spaz, you have a point there, but I do want to go to Cali because, I mean, I don't know about Brenton and Spaz. I never played like real competitive college or minor league, anything like that. So, but Cali, I know you played some college ball. I've heard that gets the team fired up. Do you agree that kind of stuff fires the team up? So
it depends. So okay, there's a lot of factors. One, Skip is a first-time manager. Like, yes, he has not yet experienced going out and getting in a guy's face, and that may just be his demeanor. And he's right, arguing balls and strikes. You're not going to go out there and he's not going to change the call because of it. But
I don't think that's why managers do it. Is it?
Oh, yeah, let me finish my thought. All right. So when you go out to talk to an umpire, especially with something like balls and strikes that are up to umpire's judgment, it's a couple of things. One, you have to be careful because the baseball rules state that if you doubt the judgment of an umpire in that regard, they have grounds to throw you. So you have to be really careful with that. But by going out and talking to him, you do a couple things. One, the team sees, okay, he's got our backs, he's fighting for us, especially if you have enough of the team like complaining about it and you see maybe it's going both ways, you can go talk to him. But also it puts a little pressure on the umpire, like, shit, okay, maybe I'm not at my best today. And now, maybe he tightens up the zone, he tightens up his calls or whatever. Or you have to be careful because it depends on the umpire, because maybe he knows that umpire and he's like, man, that guy's a dick. If I go out and argue with him and I piss him off, he's not going to give me anything, So it's managing is very much choosing your battles. Like even on the high school level where I coach, it's, you know who you can and can't talk to and how you talk to them. Like if there's an egregious bad call, whether, it's a strike 3 call or play at the plate, play on a base or whatever, you kind of have to know who the umpire is and how to approach them. Because if, like with me, I have certain relationships with umpires that I can go up to them in a calm manner, even if I think they blew the call, and like, hey, bro, like what happened? What did you see? And that's usually the first thing that comes out of my mouth when there's a bad call. What did you see? And then I'll tell them if I agree with them or disagree with them. Sometimes it'll get heated, but you have to be careful because, that when arguing with an umpire, it's not like you're never going to see this guy again. You're going to get that guy again for another series. And he's going to remember if you have a bad interaction, okay, now there's a close play at second. You know what? Fuck Skip. Now I want to make this call. So maybe Skip is more mild-mannered and in the sense that, like, maybe he just wants to choose his battles. Maybe he's waiting for an egregious call and you know, or maybe he's not comfortable yet going up to an umpire and arguing with him. That's a tough shell to crack, man, because you know, everyone thinks that, you know, you'd go, like, watching on TV, you're at a game, like, oh, go get in the guy's face and tell him to go fuck himself, until you're there and you realize, okay, this is a person just trying to do their job. And, you know, usually those conversations aren't that heated, don't get heated unless there's like an egregious call or an already sour relationship between the coach and the official.
And back to what Spaz was saying, Mattingly did it all the time. And Cali's saying that it has its effect every once in a while. So I'm assuming maybe we're playing the whole, when he finally does do it, it's going to feel like that much more, especially for the team, because he's so mild-mannered, he never does it, that hopefully he waits and puts it off for a really, maybe we're on a rough slump, losing streak. He comes and does that and kind of hypes up the team. Yes, Cali, you got something.
Also, Mattingly is like kind of a baseball legend, so he has a bit of ground to stand on, because like, I'm Don fucking Mattingly, and yeah, okay, like baseball. You know, yeah, exactly. I'm Donnie fucking baseball. Like I won 1,000,000 World Series with the Yankees and one of the best first basemen ever. Like, you know, I can say whatever the fuck I want to you. And there's a couple guys that can do that, like the Dusty Bakers and you know, going back to Jim Leland's, the Sparky Andersons, the Joe Torres, you know, Tommy Lasorda's, the Bobby Coxes, like you're like, when you're a legend in the game, you have a little more pedigree to work with. Skip was a good baseball, like just an average ball player, but had a very good career, you know, and now he's managing for the first time. Yeah. It's not, you know, if you know, you have our Pujols or Yadier Molina coming out of the dugout to argue with you, you're going to approach it differently than if, you know, a guy like Skip Schumacher. You know,
just, for sure.
You know, there's levels to it. It's not as easy as just going out and arguing, you know.
And just back to Donnie baseball real quick. Unfortunately, he never won a World Series for the Yankees. He retired in '95 right before they started their dynasty. Which is sad story. I know, sad story.
R.I.P. and peace. Still a great first baseman.
So he only made the playoffs once in his career. Go ahead. So we had a missed chance. Yeah, I know. Missed chance at the sweep. Now we went to the 10th inning, and I just had a question about this one play. Jazz steals third, but once he does that, he automatically opens second base, so they could walk. Who was on second? Was it No, the batting king, Arias.
Oh yeah,
they walk up, right, and then they bring up Solar, and then they walk him because first is open because they just walked. So was stealing third base, and was it a good move by Skip? Because I'm assuming Skip sent him. But at that point, you took out Solar's bat.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, you have one of the best base runners on second base. It's a ballsy move to send him, and yeah, you're potentially taking out the bat of one of the better power hitters in the game right now. But at the same time, you bring in two guys into scoring position. Those 90 feet in those situations make a huge difference. Between winning a game, like now, like, you know, let's say Solar, you know, gets jammed and flares it into left field, or he gets on the end of the bat and it pokes through for the you know, between the first and second baseman. You know, now you're scoring a guy, or now you know, with that, if Solar comes up to hit, you have the infield. You know, at that point, if you don't walk him, you have the infield playing in. The safe bet was always to walk him, and then, you know, you're you know, who's up after him? Was it
DLC? No, Coop?
Yeah, it was Brian. It was Brian. No, it was Brian De La Cruz. You're right, which isn't a bad call because he's one of our better bats right now, and he was hitting fastballs well. The guy, I believe
DLC and Sanchez.
Yeah, so you bring up DLC, who's been crushing fastballs. You have a guy who's just throwing heat. You know, I think it was a safe role. Like it was safe to do it in the sense that you knew that they were going to walk Solar. But it was ballsy still to steal with Jazz because you know, you don't want to make an out at third in those situations. But Jazz got a great jump. He got there. Now if the third baseman squeezes it, I think he's out. But you know, lucky.
Well, I think.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, I think the other part about that move too is, had Rogers gone 6, 7 innings and we didn't dip into the bullpen the way we did, would Skip have felt like I need to make this move because this game can't go any further because, had that run come in, we would have won the game. And, it all fell apart when we went to the 11th. So, is that Skip saying, it's win now or we're not going to win, which is what
That's a
ended up
great point.
happening.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Super good point.
And
Spaz?
sorry, go ahead, Spaz.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say also after that you have an off day. You want your bullpen to rest. He probably understood like if we go into extras, I'm bringing in a guy like Smeltzer or something like that. So he probably was very much in a win now mindset because he didn't want to have to bring Puck back out. He didn't want to have to bring back Nardi or Floro or something like that, or even Brazaban. He wanted to be able to win it there and then roll the dice with Smeltzer, who got again absolutely tattooed. Sorry, go ahead, Spaz.
No, I agree with Brian, man. I think it's a different ball game if our boy Trevor stays in a little longer, man. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't mad at the stealing third and all that. I liked it. I was fired up. I'm sure the team was fired up. Whatever.
Well, with one out, you figure you got to give me a sack fly here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, whatever happened. But I think it going back to what Brenton said, like T-Dog fucked us up, and it's not his fault. He got injured, whatever. But I think it's a different ballgame if he stays in for a few more innings.
Well, now that we're talking about Rogers, real quick, Rogers and Cueto are out of the rotation. What are we doing now? I'll start with Cali. Cali, what do you think we do now?
Pray. If you believe in a deity, I'd start throwing it up.
Marlins Twitter is calling for somebody, and I hate it.
No, bro.
They're calling for him.
Oh no, Brandon, you got to tell me, who are they calling for? I haven't seen them calling
They're
for
calling
anybody
for
yet.
Bum.
No.
Bumgarner.
Oh, I did
yes.
see that. I didn't
I've
take it
seen
seriously.
several
though.
people on there saying,
Yeah,
"Would you take him?" Because he's going to come dirt cheap.
We just saw him.
I don't give a fuck. I don't want.
Listen,
He's better than Cueto. He's better than Cueto.
Listen,
is he?
Listen,
yeah, I think so.
It's not a sexy pick, but if you do it for the I'm not saying that I'm encouraging to bring in Mad Bum, but I want you to think from the Marlins perspective and how they sign players. You can probably bring him in for dirt cheap. He could still be effective if you do it like
a long relief.
Yeah, you can tell him like, hey, look, we'll bring you in. You'll get a couple starts until Rogers comes back, and then you're going to be a bullpen guy. Maybe he agrees to that, but I do think Mad Bum's going to end up in Texas because they're down a few arms and they're actually winning ball games right now. So that one probably makes a little more sense. But
I feel like they want to stay away from him if they're winning games.
Yeah, but they're missing arms too. But
he might want to pitch in a big park like ours.
Yeah,
the way he's getting hit.
I wouldn't hate it. I hope it. I mean, it would make sense financially for them to do it. I think
Yuri's not ready, and that would
Yuri's
be the only
not ready.
person they would.
I was gonna say I saw Yuri's name popping up. I'm like, he's in AA. He's not gonna skip AAA and also show up in the majors.
So Yuri's only 20 years old. He's in his second year in AA, and he's still the youngest player.
He's off to a good start, but he's not ready yet.
He's not ready.
A year or two in the minors still.
We're in a precarious spot because Sixto's not ready, allegedly. Yuri ready. Max Myers just got to throwing like 90 feet, so it becomes a question of what's in the minors that we can bring up.
Can I put something out there for you guys?
Yeah.
George Soriano made his debut this weekend, and then he came in for Rogers, and he had 5 shutout innings. Now I understand that maybe if he starts, maybe we can't count on him going 100 pitches, seven innings, but you could bring him in and have him pitch 4 or 5 innings. And then, I mean, it's almost like a bullpen day because you're going to have to get some other arms out there. But from what I've seen over this last week, I think he might be an option.
Well, in the minors, he's done everything. He's started, he's come out of relief and stuff like that. I think the logical thing from what we have available to us right now is Braxton moves into the 4th spot of the rotation, and then Soriano would fill in for Braxton, or you just start Soriano on the next Rogers start. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It's tough losing to. Have they said how long Rogers is going to be out for?
I don't
I
even
saw
think
him.
they've said he's out yet.
I
They
saw
haven't
he
even said
did.
it.
He was talking to somebody, and he said he didn't think it was going to be very long, so he might only miss like 2 or 3 starts.
But
Which
my understanding is that it was a forearm strain, which is the same thing that Luzardo had last year, which wasn't supposed to be long either, and well, it ended up being a lot longer than expected. So, what are you thinking, Spaz?
I'm thinking we think like when Inter Miami tells us a player is out for 2 weeks, let's just give it more time.
Yeah, just don't hold your breath.
Yeah,
Bobby, where are you?
yeah. No, no, dude. Like, listen, I've loved and wanted Rodgers to just fucking go out there and sling it, like, you know, and after the sticky stuff, whatever, he lost all his shit, whatever. But I still want him to come back, and he had that really good outing. What is it? His last start or the start before that? Not this one that he got injured. I think the start before that he had a really
Yeah,
good
the
outing.
start before he looked good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
even
what we went
yesterday
to.
or whatever, he looked good.
Yeah, he beat Bum.
Yeah. So I mean,
The bum.
we need him back. I'm not opposed to your idea, dude. I'm really not opposed to your idea. Bring him in. Give me 5 or 6 innings from Soriano. Give me 5 innings from Soriano, and I'm fucking happy. And I think our bullpen is strong enough to do the rest, man. On that day in particular, and then just keep it moving.
And you just can't have another, like, Sandy really has to come back at this point then, because you can't have 2 games in a series where the pen's going to have to go deep. So that's kind of where you run that risk is, do you have confidence that Sandy's going to come back? And, Cabrera's looked good at the last 2 starts, but if he starts having control issues again, then you're kind of risking your pen. So, that's probably where a rumor like Baumgartner or maybe going outside of the system comes from. Is just, it's risky to have a guy who can only go 5 innings.
With that smooth transition to Sandy, what the F? What exactly is going on with Sandy? He's been out there 4 games. He had that one complete dominance against who was it? Was it the Twins? That 100-pitch complete shutout. At the other 3 games, he has not looked good. Now, I know last week we had this question, and I said, is it going to be time to worry if on Sunday he doesn't look good? For the most part, everybody agreed, maybe we start to consider it, but we still don't worry. But seeing how he got lit up early, are we there yet? Are we worried?
So what's concerning about Sandy is not the stuff, right? Like the 2 seam still looks great, the slider still looks good, the changeup still looks good, the sinker still looks good. It's just he's leaving everything up, which that's why he's getting hit. He's still getting strikeouts and he's still having guys hit into outs and making some look bad. But he's when they're hitting him hard because the velo will do that. Granted, it's an easy fix. It's working with Mel on the off days and finding that release point and perfecting it again. It happens, man. Like every every great pitcher has gone through rough patches. And that's okay. Like I'm glad this problem is happening in April. If it's happening in July, August, September, then we're in deep shit. But aside from that, I'm glad let it happen in April so that by the time the dog days of summer come around, we're all right.
What are you thinking, Bratton? Are we finally worried?
No, I'm not. When you look at his stats,
I like the confidence.
Well, I'm a stats guy. I like to look at the stats. And when you look at his advanced stats, they're really pretty close to in line with where they have been most of his career up until last year. Because if you look at last year, his stats are just incredible. Obviously, he won the Cy Young. So I think if he can just figure out how to get that ball a little bit further down in the strike zone and work the bottom with that slider and his changeup, I think he can go back to that dominance. I mean, you don't just throw a game like you did against the Twins, who was a really good team, and then like your stuff just disappears. It wasn't like Rogers with the sticky stuff going away or anything like that. Like Sandy's still Sandy. So I think he bounces back. I think, his problem is just getting that ball down in the strike zone a little bit more and stop leaving it hanging there. Because that's where he's getting rocked. But, until, like Callie said, until we're halfway through the season and his ERA is still above 5 and he's lost 10 games, then I'll start worrying, but not till then.
And Spaz, trifecta. I'm assuming you're not worried either.
Mira, el tipo es un caballo. His nickname is el caballo. I'm not fucking worried about shit.
There we go. That's what I like.
The only thing I will say is that he got fucking hit hard. I told you those
Yep.
balls. Like we were at the game. My buddy turned to me, and goes, "Fucking Sandy's getting hit." Like I mean, those balls were popping off the bat. So, like Callie said, like Brenton said, like he'll figure it out. I am not fucking worried about it at all. He's a fucking workhorse, bro. We'll be fine.
So an interesting. I was just cruising through our minor league pitching stats, and I think the guy that might get a shot here is Patrick Monteverde from. He's in Double-A with Pensacola. He's thrown 13 innings and he's given up 2 hits, with a WHIP of 0.3 and opponent average of 0.51. So, and he's 25, he's 26 years old, Patrick Monteverde, 6'2" lefty. So it fills another lefty spot. It might be a guy that they accelerate through the minors, hasn't had his major league debut yet. That I wouldn't be shocked if that's a guy that gets a call here in a minute.
That does sound good.
You said he's in Jacksonville?
He's in Pensacola. He's in Double-A.
Oh, Pensacola. Sorry. All right.
By the way, I want this Pensacola hat so bad that I'm looking at in this picture.
I want a jumbo shrimp hat.
Yeah.
I want all of them. Sky carp, jumbo shrimp. I'm going for it.
Now, obviously, our offense is looking a little better. Like you said, we scored. How many runs was it over the
18.
last 18 runs? So we're obviously looking better. Now, this is something that I haven't heard, but something that I've personally been thinking. I want you guys to tell me what you think. I'm not a big fan of our leadoff hitter, Jazz, striking out 40% of the time. Now, I know Jazz is a great hitter, but for a leadoff hitter to be striking out 40% of the time, I'm just not feeling it. How do you feel about switching the lead? Like, who do you think should be the leadoff hitter? I'll start, Brandon. Let's start off with you. Who do you feel should be the leadoff hitter? Are you okay with Jazz? There. Okay.
Yeah, I think to start the season, Skip had Jazz as our cleanup hitter, and we didn't like that. No. I think he's effective in the leadoff spot, and why I like him there is because he almost acts as like when you're into the deeper innings and like you've got the bottom of the order guys, because some of the bottom of the order is getting on base. So, you've got a guy like Jazz in the leadoff spot who can hit for power sometimes and can make contact. So he kind of cleans up that bottom of the order. So I'm okay with it. I like him there.
Spaz?
Well, we've seen that Skip has kind of like switched the lineup around like 100 million times, which I like. I mean, he's trying to figure out, the perfect recipe for this fucking sandwich.
Look, the offense is looking good. Yep.
Yeah, I know it's fine. I would leave him lead off. When he did the, where did he bat during the series? He wasn't even cleanup. He was like fifth or what? Or am I wrong?
Which series? This past series?
Yeah, I think so. He was down there, or was he cleanup?
He was clean. Oh, this past series, I think he was down there, but weren't they facing a lefty?
Oh, you're probably right about
sometimes that. When Jazz doesn't hit lefties very well, so sometimes they move him down. So that might have been that move.
Bueno, whatever. I would leave him. Lead off, man. I think he's fine there. I think that also gives him some confidence. I don't like the whole, he's fucking just swinging at shit and missing it and he's striking out. I mean, that sucks, and I'm sure he knows he needs to work on that. But yeah, I would leave him there. It's fine for now, anyway.
So with our leadoff spot, so you really have like 2 or 3 options that you can go with, right? So you have Jazz, and then you have Arise. And then if you really want to tinker with it, and we saw once this last series, you can put Birdie there. Now, the issue with Birdie is that his on-base percentage isn't very good. Okay, Birdie, Jazz strikes out a lot, but we have to think about how the game has progressed, and people and the baseball nerds don't care about strikeouts anymore. They don't.
Yes, that's true.
As long as you're hitting 25, 30 bombs and you're getting on base, like they'll take the strikeouts.
Yeah.
Now, so the question becomes, do you put Jazz at leadoff or Arise at leadoff? Because those are really our 2 options.
Mm-hmm.
Arise OPS is like almost at like 1,500. That like you want that guy up to hit with guys on base.
Yeah.
So I think by default, Jazz ends up I think Jazz is our leadoff, and I think it's fine. Like, I think we're gonna have to live with the strikeouts. He has 29 strikeouts already this season, which is a lot. 29 in a month is substantial. That's nothing to scoff at. He's the next closest is 19 with Coop. But his OPS is 709, which isn't bad. He's slugging 412. He started off slow, but he's hitting 235 now. He's putting barrels on on the bat. And he's got 16 hits, man. He's fourth on our team in hits, tied with Solar. Unfortunately, that's just a byproduct of having a guy like Jazz in the leadoff spot. It's we don't have a real true leadoff. In an ideal world, Jazz would probably be a great 2-hole type of guy, or like a 5-hole type of guy. Because he's a guy that can hit for pop, and he can find the gap, and he's fast. But yeah, it's just it's not for anything. It's just lack of options. You want a guy that gets on base. You want a guy that gets on base as your leadoff, as 1 and 2. I love hitting Cooper second, and then a guy.
So
like
do I.
third.
I love Coop.
I love how baseball's
Cooper.
changed. That you kind of throw a power guy into that second spot after you have a guy that can get on base in the first spot. So, the top 5, like, I appreciate Skip kind of tinkering and experimenting and see what works. But in terms of leadoff, like, I just don't think we have options unless you do like that weird thing where you just hit the catcher first. So you throw Fortes or Stallings and just kind of get it out of the way.
Nah.
But that's really the only other option, right?
No. I would like, if it were up to me, obviously, I would switch Arise and Jazz, and I'd have Jazz batting at the 3 and Arise leading off. I just like, if you can get on base, I want whoever gets on base most to lead off that inning. I mean, obviously, that's just the first inning. After that, it doesn't really matter. And then I have Coop, which is our second best hitter as of right now, coming up after him, and then Jazz being protected by Solar in the cleanup. That's the lineup that I would like.
So let me respond to that with a question.
Go for it.
All right, would you rather Jazz strike out to lead off the game, or would you rather have Jazz strike out with guys on second and third?
That's my thought.
I mean, if we're talking the first inning, there's 0 outs, so I take my chances.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, if we have guys in position, like, do you want to get the guy that's going to strike out the most on this team, like with guys in position, But that's the thing. Like remember, Jazz leading off, he's going to hit after the back end of the lineup. So Jazz is going to have several innings where he's leading off or he's the second guy up.
Right.
I'd rather have that guy strike out than we have Arise get on, then we have Coop get on, and then we have to have Jazz come up. And if by the numbers he's going to be a big strikeout guy, that's not a guy I want up with guys in position.
I get you. I guess my thought process is more of, I feel like if there's men on base, Jazz is up, and you have Solar behind them, he's not going to get pitched around as much. Like, he's going to see a lot more balls in the strike zone, and he's been striking out so much that I think he needs that, because when he has nobody on base, and there's nobody on base, and you have Coop behind them, like, you could pitch around them, and obviously it's working because he's striking out 40% of the time. So I'm just thinking more of protecting him.
So let me put it, and I'm sorry to hijack this conversation. It's just
go for it.
I have the Coach Cali hat on.
Go for it.
Let's say Arise gets a knock, Coop gets a knock. You have a guy on first and second.
Yes.
All right. Then you have Jazz come up. Let's say he strikes out. Now you have Solar up. That's very much, as much as he's smashing the ball right now, he's very much a boomer bust guy. That guy's going to put the ball 450 feet, or he's going to roll over to the shortstop. Mm-hmm. So now you're putting yourself in a position that you have a guy that's going to strike out, and you have a guy that's going to hit into a lot of double plays this year. It's going to hit into a lot of ground ball outs this year. And now your inning's over. So these are all the metrics that we have to kind of line up with and say, like, okay, is the juice worth the squeeze?
I get what you're saying, but as far as Jazz goes, where do you think he's better suited for success? Do you think he's better suited with no men on base where they could just pitch around him, and obviously he's striking out at a higher rate, or when you have men on base and you know that you got the power hitter behind them where you might want to throw the ball in the strike zone a little more often? Like, that's what my question is. And again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just asking. That's my thought process.
What I would like to see is, and this is obviously something I'd have to do, some research on, or we have to see the metrics on, is where in the lineup is Jazz getting on base the most?
That's
obviously they have nerds working for the Marlins that figure all that out. But If it's me, I want a guy like Jazz leading off because he's going to strike out a lot, but he's also going to get on base a lot. His on base percentage is high. That's a guy I want up. Okay, now I want a guy with Coop that can find a gap and move him over. Then I want a guy like Arise that can come behind him, and he's going to put and Arise doesn't strike out. Arise has 4 strikeouts this year in 64 at bats.
I can't believe he's on my baseball team. Fucking amazing.
He has 4
Enjoy
strikeouts.
it. You only got
in
it for like
64
another
at-bats.
150 games only.
Bro, if we keep him past July, I'm gonna be thrilled, to be honest with you. But
Give him the
Like-
money.
All right.
okay, the guy handle a blank check.
All right. So we got coming up, we have a series against the Cleveland Guardians, which is what I keep saying. I want to be kind of the model of success from last year for our current Marlins because they rely so heavily on pitching. They are currently also 10-9, I believe.
Yeah.
And, so they haven't necessarily gotten to the hottest of starts. We have Sandy going on Saturday, Luzardo going on Sunday, and we have Garrett coming on tomorrow. So we have that, and then we have a 4-game series against the Ravens, the Braves. So it's prediction time. Pull out that crystal ball once again. Let's start off with Spazzy this time. Spazzy, you lit us off last time, so I want to hear. Go ahead and give us a prediction for the next 2 series. We got 3 against the Guardians, 4 against the Braves, which obviously are NL East favorites. What are you feeling?
Dude, so I think I've said this before, that when I was before the Marlins, I followed the Braves. I have no reason to hate the Braves. But the Braves are also a fucking very strong team.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, they are.
So I'm happy. We're on the road. What is it? 7 games. Can't be 500. I'm happy coming back 3-4, man. It's
Okay.
The Braves,
That'll leave us at 500, which is where we're trying to be.
Yeah. I'm happy coming back 3-4. Hopefully, Sandy sets a tone. Fucking gets shit done on his day. But 3-4, I'm fucking over the moon, dude. Going to that park and with the Braves, it's tough.
Branton.
Yeah, I think 3-4 is probably our best case scenario on this road trip. I don't know what kind of Sandy we're gonna get back. It wouldn't surprise me to see us go 2-5 in this road trip, depending on how Sandy responds. But I do think we'll come back against the Cubs pretty strong, being back at home. So I'll say 3-4.
And Cali.
All right. So if we're looking at by the numbers, Cleveland's only hitting .231 as a team. They have 3 decent hitters in guys like Naylor, Miles Straw, who's their best hitter right now, and a speed guy. Jose Ramirez is obviously always a threat. But the rest of their lineup really isn't hitting, and I think this is a time that we can capitalize. I know asking for a sweep on the road is a big ask. But I think we can take 2. I think we can definitely take 2 from the Guardians if we have Sandy and Luzardo go. And Luzardo, I love our chances against a team that's really struggling with the bat right now. The Braves are the Braves, one of the best lineups, arguably the best lineup in baseball right now. They smash, they don't do a whole lot poorly. They're top 5 in average as a team. It's going to be tough. I think if we can split the series, that would be massive. I think if we can go 3-4, 4-3, I think that's a solid series for us.
Well, we see our old friend, right? We see Ozuna against the Braves.
Yeah, Ozuna.
I don't know if we're gonna see him.
Ozuna's he's running into some trouble.
Oh wait, he's still suspended from all that?
No. He's just not hitting. He's just not.
Oh, he's not? Okay. But we see
Yeah,
Adam
no.
Duvall.
No, I was hearing people saying that we should trade Osuna for Aviseo Garcia.
Oh my God. Yeah, don't listen to Martin's Twitter, bro. Again, like I told Brandon, no, bro, don't listen to Martin. I'm probably gonna get heat for this, but don't listen to Martin's Twitter, bro.
Listen, I would trade Avi for anything. You give me a cooler or Gatorade, I'll take it.
Marcell Ozuna is hitting a staggering 0.83 right now. He's somehow found a way to be worse than Avi.
Don't listen to Marlins.
That's why I said let's get the Gatorade. We don't need Azuna.
But in the spirit of that, they have Ronnie Acuna hitting 367 with 3 bombs. Matt Olson has 6 bombs. Austin Riley, Sean Murphy, Ozzy Albies. Like this team is really fucking good, man. The Braves are really good, man. Like that's why I think if we can take 2 from them, that's huge. Will we take 2 from them over there in Atlanta?
I think it depends on what Sandy we get.
Yeah, well, we get Sandy the last game of the series.
Yeah,
we get Sandy the last game of that series, and so I think that coming up with Sandy playing twice, I haven't lost hope in Sandy. We thought last Sunday, and we both ate our words, or everybody that predicted he would get back strong, ate our words. I'm gonna predict it again. I think he finally comes back strong. 2 outings, and we ride him to 2 victories. Luzardo helps us win another one against the Guardians. That'll be 3 wins. And Garrett tomorrow surprises us and gets us that 4th win. I think we go 4-3 in the next 7. We take 1 from the Braves and we sweep Cleveland. And
that would be awesome.
That's what I'm going. First sweep. Look, we had a chance at sweeping. I'm blanking right now.
Both teams, the Diamondbacks and
the Diamondbacks. And then the Giants, and we let that slip through our fingers. I think we get a chance against the Guardians, and I think we get it. I mean, obviously tomorrow's the biggest test because it's Garrett, but after that we have Sandy, which I think we haven't lost trust in. Luzardo after that. If we take those 3, all we need is 1 from the Braves, and we stay right above 500, which is where we want to be. Right? 86 wins is the goal. 86 wins. That's what I'm saying all year. 86 is the goal.
Can I just
go ahead.
Yes. So, what's his name? The dude who's hitting for the Braves.
Ronnie Acuna.
Historically, just a crybaby, especially against the Marlins because he had some issues with a pitcher or 2. Can we take bets if he's gonna cry against this pitch was too high? He had that famous tweet. They have to throw at me because they can't strike me out. All this shit.
I don't remember that tweet.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he's kind of had that relationship with the Marlins, but
he does not like us, dude. He's a crybaby.
Well, we don't like him.
No, he can
ball. He can cut guys. He can cut whatever the fuck he wants. Like if he says I want to play for the Marlins, I want that fucking guy on my team. That guy's.
I understand.
We're never gonna pay him.
He's the top 5 player in baseball. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, man.
Predictions: will he pull some shit like that against the Marlins now?
Yes, if we're winning, yes.
Okay,
for sure. I mean, baseball players are prone to complain about balls and strikes regardless. So if he doesn't like us, for sure, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Especially at home.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So going around the league, let's start with Sad Max. Sad Max going ahead, and he got ejected for using a foreign substance. Supposedly it was rosin on his hands. They went to the mound in the 3rd inning. They checked. They said he had to take it off. At the end of the 3rd inning, he went. Supposedly he washed it off with hand sanitizer or something. I don't know. And then he said he reapplied it before going back. And when he got on there, they checked him again, and they said it was still too much, and he got ejected from the game. So before I ask for your opinions, it is supposedly in the rule book illegal to put rosin on your hands before you're on the mound. You have to do it only while you're on the mound. So just based off of that, he was going against the rules, and he openly admitted it post-game. So he openly admitted that he did something that was against the rules. Now I ask you guys, what is your opinion on this Sad Max ordeal? I'll start with Callie.
No, Callie's like this. Callie's like this right now.
I know. I saw it in his face.
I'll say that I don't dislike Max Scherzer. In fact, he's one of my favorite players to watch. I hate that he's on the Mets right now. I hate it so much that he's on the Mets right now. Now the rules are the rules, right? So you knew you broke the rule. You're gonna get tossed for it. You're gonna get the suspension. You're gonna get the fine. Like the rules. Now I should indicate that since the sticky stuff rule came into effect, the same umpire has caused every single ejection for it. Same umpire.
What?
So yeah,
It's only been one umpire.
Yeah.
one umpire. So
way.
yeah. So that being said, this guy has a reputation for being a stickler about this. You can't do that dumb shit. Now, as a coach, like obviously, like you're gonna look for every competitive advantage you can. And if you have some rosin in the dugout, you're gonna put a little on your fingers. You're gonna put a little on your glove, all that fun stuff. All right. But so technically, the rule is once you apply a foreign substance to your hand, you have to wipe. So you have to wipe off your shirt or your pants or something like that, and then you can touch the ball. Even if you pick up rosin, like you pick up the rosin bag, you play with it, and you go to grab the ball immediately, that's breaking the rule, and you can get tossed for that, even in high school. So you have to apply the stuff, and then you have to wipe. And then you see some guys that keep it on their hat and stuff like
Right.
that too. Now, it sucks. Like, obviously, like Scherzer's a fun guy to watch, and you want to see him pitch. I think it's great for us. Like, good. That's 10 games. That's 2 starts that he's going to miss, plus the one he missed earlier. That bodes well for us.
How stupid are the Mets to sign 2 40-year-old as their aces?
They're both pretty fucking good, though, man. That's the thing.
They're old as shit. They're not gonna do anything.
That's fine. Yeah, but they're in a win now mindset, so I get it. And Scherzer's a guy that's like they both like Scherzer and Verlander still fucking shove, bro. Like Scherzer's still throwing 98 in the 7th. Like that's and Verlander too, man. Like those are guys that you take. I think you pay and take a waiver on. And you know what? Pitchers are kind of becoming like elite pitchers are kind of becoming like elite quarterbacks, so you can play to your late 30s into your early 40s and shit, but especially with the way like the training
games anymore.
Yeah, and also how just how sports medicine has advanced and how training has advanced and stuff like that. Like you see these guys again, like a guy like Scherzer's a fucking freak because he's throwing 98 in the 7th and 8th innings of games. He's an animal. Now again, great for us. He's an idiot because the rules and the umpire, and that's a big thing. Like and if it's something we're preaching at the high school level, it's definitely something they're preaching at the pro level. Like who the umpires are, like what they're looking for. Like for example, we teach our guys something called the balk move for a pick off the first, and it's to make it look like we're going to the plate. We turn to first. We know which umpires we can do it to and which ones won't pick, and which ones we can't because we know who will look for that. So if we can see that on our level, they definitely know.
Go ahead, Spaz.
So, Callie, just one quick thing because you mentioned it earlier on. So, Mad Max, fucking legend of the game. Listen, the guy.
Sad Max.
He's a fucking legend of the game. He's a killer. But could it be like you said, like Donnie Baseball, that he's a fucking he's a legend and he's just like, I'm gonna fucking do this because I have been in this game so long. You're not gonna tell me how I'm gonna pitch. Like, could it be one of those things?
I think, I think with pitchers and stuff like that, like, I think you try and get away with it. Like
he was fighting it. I mean, he was talking to the ump. He was like
yeah. And that's a thing. Like, okay, like he went into the dugout. He tried to clean it off, and the umpire still determined that it was too much. And then after that point, it's an ejection. I think ego definitely has something to do with it, but I just think it's a pitcher just trying to gain a competitive advantage. I think Max Scherzer would do it the same way as Braxton Garrett would do it, or another back end of the rotation guy. Like he's definitely not the only one doing it. You just did it to the wrong umpire. Yeah. And I don't know if you've been to the game, you're probably noticing when guys are walking in from the bullpen, the umpires check them before they get to the mound.
Yep.
So that's a new thing. So what's interesting to me is did they see it off right off the bat, or is it something that he went into the dugout and then applied and then came back out?
What I think happened is that Sad Max pitched for the Dodgers a couple years ago, so they know him and his tendencies and the illegal stuff that they use. So I'm sure it's them that told them go check him out. That has to be it.
Yeah, that too. Like you have that type of relationship with a guy, and you say like, oh, we know for a fact he's doing this. Go check him.
For sure, exactly.
What's funny?
You wait to see if he's balling. If he's balling today, he's like, all right, 3rd inning. Go ahead, go check that guy.
Yeah, I forgot who he was with when he was with the Nationals. Like they went to go check him, and he just started taking off all his clothes out of frustration. Like dropped his pants, took off his jersey, his hat. Oh, that was a great clip. And he stayed in the game after that. But
let's bring back Ed Harris from Major League with like the Crisco and the
Oh, yeah, the jalapeno sauce on the nose.
Yeah. Let's bring that shit back, bro. Come on.
So, Bratton, real quick on the Sad Max, what are you thinking?
I think most pitchers do things like that, and he just got caught. And I think it's a combination of the two things that Callie and Spaz both said. I think you have to know your umpire and who you can get away with things with. But I think Max is kind of like, hey, I'm Max Scherzer. I'm going to do this. And I don't care who the umpire is. And I'm just going to do it. And I think he did. And, I can respect at this point, like, he's like, yeah, all right, whatever. It was me. Let's take my punishment and move on. And I can respect that. But, it's stupid, in my opinion, to hurt your team like that and do it like that. Like, that guy's looking for you.
Before you give me your point, Callie, real quick, I think it's really stupid the penalty he got. He got 10 games, which is really 2 starts, and he got $10,000, which is chump change. He probably made that walking out to the dugout. Like, what was the point?
Be like 5 starts or something.
It should be 5. It shouldn't be 10 games, because as a starting pitcher, it makes absolutely no sense to go by games. And second, it should be a percentage of your salary, because if you're just gonna suspend them at $10,000, I'm gonna keep trying it. What's the harm in that? Go ahead, Callie. What were you gonna say?
What's 10 grand when you make 28 million a year, right?
Yeah.
That's what he pays the clubby to wash his car during the games.
Sure.
So a lot of this stuff too, when you see pitchers get checked, a lot of the times it's opposing coaches kind of pointing it out. So, and again, it's a lot of knowing the umpire and also knowing the rules. So yeah, and I'm just going to use this to tell kind of a funny story from when I was coaching a couple years ago. We were playing this team, a team that we should have been beating, but it was a tight game. They have a guy on second and third. Kid comes up, hits a home run off of us, absolute bomb. The kid on third gets so excited, he takes off his helmet and slams it on the ground and runs in and taps the helmet. So you probably have seen guys do that, like excited, like they take off the helmet before they get to the plate, like halfway down the line, especially in a walk. That's technically against the rules. So what I did is I walked up to the umpire. I said, "Hey, he took off his helmet at third base.
You asshole."
He took it off. There was also 2 outs in the inning. He took off his helmet. He slammed it down and he threw it, and then he ran home. That's against the rules. He needs to be called out. And they talked about it for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Ali's a narc. Oh my God.
Wow.
And they turned around, they called him out, and chaos ensued. And then the coach was threatening me and all that. I was just sitting there like, those are the rules, bro. Know the fucking rules. We ended up winning the game, So
my God.
The thing is, it's like, and I say that to say, you have to know the rules. And sometimes a coach, again, like a coach, like, oh, I know for a fact Scherzer does this. It's against the rules. No one really tells on each other. But when you have an opportunity to get one of the best pitchers out of the game in a way other than having to perform against them, you fucking take it.
I don't know. I would wait till like the playoffs or something to do something like that, though.
No, but you do it. You do it.
Season.
Yeah.
You might see him down the line.
Game 1 of the season. I'm a narc.
Hell yeah.
If it's the playoffs, let's go. Let's get him out. I need this W.
Skip should have done this, when we had to face him twice in a week.
Yeah. Him and Ghost Fork. That was a rough start to the season.
Yeah.
So, and one more little topic from around the league. Today it came out that the A's will be moving to Vegas, just about officially. And I mean, I think we all saw this coming, right? The writing was on the wall. What do you guys think of the whole move for the A's? I mean, that stadium is bare bones whenever they play. Spaz, what did you think when you heard the news?
Listen, if Brad Pitt and Moneyball couldn't fix what's going on at the A's stadium, I don't think anybody can. So it's a bummer for the actual fans. And somebody said it today. I was like, dude, those A's and those colors are so historic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they could continue that in LA.
Bash Bros.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you had the Bash Bros.
It even goes beyond that. It's you have Reggie Jackson, you have Vida Blue, you have Dennis Eckersley, you have Raleigh Fingers, you have Catfish Hunter, you have
Raleigh Fingers.
Yeah, man, like it's upsetting because it's such a historic franchise, man, and like everyone knew the A's gold and green, and it sucks.
Such
man.
A sweet combination.
Yeah,
look
man,
at the A's are they transcend baseball. It's a brand. Like, look at how many people you see like at Disney this week. I probably saw 15 or 20 people wearing A's hats and stuff like that. And I doubted they knew who the A's were. You know, like that's like how iconic
Okay.
it's become, and just
Is it
seeing what's
appropriate that they
happening
ended up
is
in
just-
Vegas though, since they're the A's, right? Like the Aces. No,
I mean,
is that
they
going to be an
change-
easy transition?
I hope
the
they
Rangers-
rebrand. I don't want to see
You think
those
so?
colors in the name in Vegas.
I
don't wanna
mean,
see that.
it's gonna be interesting to see how it does because you know, the thing is there is precedent for teams relocating and keeping their colors. Look at the Giants, look at the Dodgers. Granted, look at the Braves.
Yeah, but that was a long
Granted,
time ago, though.
that's what I'm saying. Granted,
Yeah.
it was a long time ago. Like when we saw the Expos disband and move to Washington, they changed
Completely, yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
You know, so it's gonna be
Even in basketball, look at the New Jersey Nets moved to Brooklyn, which is like it was like a 15-mile move, and they completely rebranded not the name but the colors and everything. So
I don't think they keep the colors, which is very fucking unfortunate because
yeah,
listen, I'm a diehard Marlins fan, but I hate to see that happen to like such a team that's been there for fucking ever. So that sucks, dude.
I'd
It-
rather
it-
see them play under different colors than if I was like a fan of the Marlins. Like I wouldn't want to see them move someplace else and play in teal. Like that would just be like salt in the wound as a fan. And like, you know,
I can see that.
I know you guys probably following Dontrell Willis on Twitter. He's pissed.
Yeah,
He is
yeah.
heartbroken because he grew up an A's fan. Like he's
Mhm.
said multiple times, the A's saved his life.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the A's, he would have never picked up a baseball.
Yeah.
And you think about that area and how many kids that probably has happened to, and like
well, a big one is
now they've lost the Raiders and now they're losing the A's. Like that sucks.
a big one that happened to was Dave Stewart. I don't know if you guys have seen the Reggie Jackson documentary on Amazon Prime.
Must
but-
watch.
Yeah, Dave Stewart was a little kid, and Reggie Jackson would pay him to like watch his car, and he said, "Oh, I'll get you tickets to the game." Like, I don't know, we know how to sneak in through the back or whatever. So you have these kids from Oakland. That's a tough neighborhood, man. Those are tough. Those are tough streets out there, and you're pulling it out to take it to a place like Vegas. It feels wrong.
That's my whole thing. That's my whole thing. The people are getting fucked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Fuck the corporation, fuck everything, fuck the billionaires. The people are getting fucked.
over the
Yeah.
last 10 years, they've lost 3 major the only major sports teams that they had.
yeah, and what is going to transcend just Oakland is how is this going to impact the upcoming expansion? Because I know MLB wants to add at least 2 more franchises before 2030.
Mhm.
So we see Salt Lake City making a huge bid, making a very strong bid. San Jose was trying to get the A's before Vegas came through. Nashville's trying, Portland's trying, Charlotte's trying, New Orleans is trying. So with the A's moving from Oakland to Vegas, I wonder how that, do the A's stay in the NL West? Do they have to realign the divisions now? So how does
I
that
don't
change?
think so.
I know, but we'll see.
It
We'll-
definitely is a question. Yeah.
yeah, it raises questions. And now,
Yeah.
let's say there's a new franchise and they go to and they end up in Portland. So what you're gonna have, like what?
Then
like
you have to realign.
yeah, then you run into, and we saw it with when the Rays and the Diamondbacks came in, the Brewers had to go into the Brewers had to go into the National League.
Yeah.
It's not unprecedented. It's just it's crazy. There's so many things that are going to have a ripple effect. But of course, my heart breaks for the fans because the A's have such a rich baseball history, and yeah, they haven't been great aside from the whole Moneyball thing, and then we had the Bash Bros and stuff like that. But you had Ricky Henderson, bro. You had again Vida Blue, Reggie Jackson. You had some incredible teams. They won 3 World Series in like 4 years before Reggie went to the Orioles for that 1 year, and then he ended up at the Yankees.
Yep.
It's heartbreaking, man. It's really upsetting because it's like to me, and it may sound extreme because maybe they haven't won, but it's like taking the Cubs out of Chicago. It's like
what? I would feel worse if Oakland was being supported and getting players like people to come out to the stadium, but because nobody's going out there, like I get it. I get it.
And I think a lot of that though is the local government and their opposition to the stadium proposals. Like, I wouldn't want to go sit at the Coliseum and watch a baseball game. Like,
I heard
that's
it's a
not
dump.
something I'm interested in.
it
Like,
is a dump.
like we may not have always had a great product here in Miami, but like you go to Marlins Park and you have a great experience. You're not getting that there. And in in an area like that, like with all that tech money, like you better be giving people a good experience for them to come out.
Yeah.
And the thing is
that's not
that
happening.
for like, you don't have fans coming out because you're in a football stadium. So even when they do come out, it doesn't look great. And then on top of that, you're still charging a lot for tickets. And then on top of that, you have the fans pushing back because the owner wants a publicly funded stadium. And the people are like, no, we don't want that.
Right.
You build a fucking stadium.
For sure.
So
you got more money.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
The owner said, all right, fuck you guys. I'm not getting my public stadium. And it's the same thing with the Sonics and a couple other historic franchises that ended up having to leave where they're at because, billionaire was being a billionaire and they,
For sure.
they wanted to stomp their feet
that's
and
how
cry.
That's how they become a billionaire. That's how they stay a billionaire.
Yeah. So it's upsetting.
It does suck. But, the Marlins are luckily staying in Miami for now. So let's be happy with that. And hopefully that lasts for a while. With that being said, we're coming to an end. But like we end every episode, we're going to end it with a little trivia. So are you guys ready for a little trivia?
Absolutely not. No. Why would I be ready?
It is Battered Marlins Fans Trivia.
Bro, I hope to
right.
God we don't get hit with having to pay royalties for playing that. But real quick, the scoreboard: Danny has 2, Brenton has 1, Spazzy has 1, and yours truly, Callie has 3 points.
Jesus Christ.
Some fans pointed out though that you should have some deductions because of the amount of guesses you throw out there.
I'm the scorekeeper, so what I say goes. So those fans can go fly kite. All right.
All right. So my computer died, so we're gonna do 2 questions, major leagues in general, and then we got a Marlins.
All
so
right.
going based off of Jackie Robinson Day that just passed.
Love it.
Obviously, he was the player that broke the color barrier back in 1947, April 15, 1947. Who was the second black player, which ended up being the first American League player to go ahead and play in the major leagues? And I'll give you an extra point if you can guess what team it was. I mean, if you knew the player, you know the team. So, I mean, I guess it's...
I'm going to guess...
Or if you guess the team, I'll give you a point.
Was it Elston Howard?
It was not. That was later on in the 50s.
Yeah, that's 50s and 60s.
Dude, I want to say this name is just in my head, and I don't even know if it's now or then. Jordan Henderson?
Mm-mm.
No, that's a midfielder for Liverpool.
What? What the fuck? I don't know what that was about.
Was it Satchel Paige?
No, but that is a great
That
guess
was
because he was
gonna
the
be my
first
guess.
black. He was the first black pitcher to ever play in the major leagues.
So
that
it was
was a great guess.
so he was a hitter.
He was a hitter, yes. American League. He made his debut on July 5th, 1947, just 3 months after Jackie.
Branson, throw your guess out there. I threw mine. It was awful.
I don't know. Satchel Paige is going to be my guess.
I'll take one more guess in Roy Campanella.
No, another good one. That was also the 50s, though. It might have been late 40s, but no, it wasn't him. Larry Doby, Cleveland Indians. Cleveland Indians.
You know, I was going to... Oh, I knew it was the Indians.
All right, and we are going to stick with Jackie Robinson and breaking those color barriers.
All right.
And here we go. Who was the first black manager to win a World Series?
Oh.
It wasn't Dusty Baker, was it?
No.
Okay, hold on.
But it wasn't that. It was in our lifetime.
It was in our lifetime.
Yes. I mean, I think everybody here is more or less the same age, so yeah.
For the Blue Jays. Fuck! I fucking know.
I'll give it to you.
Yes!
Cito Gaston for the Blue Jays.
Yes!
I'll give it to you, Spazzy.
Yes! Come on!
And then he went back to back. He won it. So he's the first one to win it and to win back to back. So nice one.
Early 90s, mid 90s, right?
The Joe Carter walk-off.
92, 93, I believe.
Get the
92 and
fuck in.
93.
Come
Joe
on.
Carter Wallace. Yep.
Come on.
Oh shit! I'm in last place all alone.
All right.
Nobody
So
talk.
I got
Let me
two.
get this Marlins one.
I got two quick Marlins questions. All right. So first Marlins question. Again, Jackie Robinson Day. He was the rookie of the year when he came out. How many rookies of the years have the Marlins had?
3.
2.
Coughlin, Willis, and Hanley.
So Spazzy, your guess.
We've had 3.
3. Okay. So you're all wrong. It's 4.
Oh, Jose.
Oh.
We had
I
Jose.
forgot Ugla.
Right. Dontrell Willis. And the year that Dontrell won it, Miguel Cabrera came in 5th place. Then we had Hanley in 2006. Dan Ugla came in 3rd place. And Josh Johnson came in 4th place that year. Chris Coughlin in 2009 and Jose Fernandez in 2013. So 4 Rookie of the Years in Marlins history.
To be fair, I was closest.
Okay, for sure.
But I won't give myself the point, but I was closest.
And then last one. This is just a random guess. See if you guys can get it. How many times have the Marlins ended the season over 500 in their 30-year history?
7.
Hold on. I'm gonna say, I think because he said 7, I'm gonna hit the over and say 8, but I think that it's that ballpark.
I think it's less than that, isn't it? It's on 5.
Don't be Googling shit.
Spazzy was on the money 7
Get the
times.
fuck in. That's what the fuck
Because
I'm
we've
about.
had we've had 2 that we won the World Series, and then we had 5 other times that we were over 500 that we didn't make the playoffs.
Yes, and this isn't part of the trivia, but just real quick, we are 10-9 right now. This is the 4th time that we started season 10-9. 2 of those other times we made the playoffs. One of those was a World Series. The other one, 2020, when we made that weird wild card thing. So maybe
History's
you
on
never
our
know how
side.
this is. There we go.
I'm feeling playoffs this year.
Before we sign off, anything else for the people, Cali, while we sign off?
I just want to point out that I was on Fish Stripes, made my Fish Stripes debut, and I predicted that we were going to go 2-1 against the Giants, and that Soler was going to be the MVP, and that happened. I'm a fucking prophet. Also, I gave Skip some suggestions. He listened. Skip, if you're listening, I know you are. Give me a small cut.
Give me a call.
Give me a call, and I'll sit in the dugout with you, man. We'll work it out.
There we go. I like it. Spaz.
I'm going to take this time to say that this is a lot of fun, and I hope that people are listening. But I'm also going to give some congratulations to our boy Pablito, who got paid this week.
He did get paid. Good
He
for
did
him.
And
Handsomely.
he's a fucking man. He loves Flanagan's. He's a nice guy. Listen, I hope they understand what they have over there, and I'm very happy for him. So, Pablito.
Sucks that he ended up doing it in such a cold weather place. Ain't no Flanagan's up there.
We should find a way to package Flanagan's and send it to him.
I'll fucking do it. I'll send him everyone.
Hey,
We should just send him a bunch of cups and stuff,
Let's go do it.
Freeze some ribs and send them up, and
Fuck yeah.
let's go.
and we'll send him a Battered Marlins t-shirt.
There we go. Or a Battered Marlins Flanagan's cup or something, like one of those plastic cups.
Love it.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, if you're still listening, of course you are. Why wouldn't you be? All the way to the end. We appreciate you taking the time to give us another listen. This was episode 3 of the Battered Marlins Fans, and we will be back next Thursday when we recap us staying right over 500. Right? 4-3 is what we're going for. Even if we end up 3-4, we'll still be at 500, so we're still happy. So until then, I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.